Hi friends. Now today I have a unique honor of introducing to you Dr. Aishwarya Durgad. She is rank 4 this NEETPG exam. She has scored a score of 979. She was a regular course student at DAMS Mysore Satellite Center. But even more interesting thing that I wanted to point out at the beginning of the interview itself is last year she had a rank of 38,000, and with 1 year of hard work she has improved to rank 4. A reason I'm saying it at the outset is because sometimes many of the listeners today may not have done well in the NEET exam and might be wondering that is it possible to improve massively. Here you have an example of somebody who has done massive hard work
Thank
to
you, sir.
convert that into a rank 4. Heartiest congratulations, Dr. Aishwarya. How are you doing today?
Thank you, sir. I am still in shock that I have got this good rank. I am very honored to sit here in front of you and talk to all the Damsonians and everybody preparing for NEET PG. I am very happy to be here.
And how did you react when you saw your result? Like when you saw the result on the online PDF thing, how did it feel?
It was not loading in my phone. My friend informed me the rank, and I didn't believe. I made my parents check twice, and then I also checked twice, and then I was very happy.
And it is a moment of pride, I think, to get a rank 4, and there is very little difference between anybody who gets a rank 1, 2, 3, 4. It's very little
Yes.
difference. It is just a matter of luck on that day, and rank 4 is like out of a 1.5 lakh students sitting in an exam is awesome.
Yes, sir.
It's
Thank
like
you, sir.
a great rank that you have done, and great landmark achievement in your life.
Thank you, sir.
And I would like to share a small line here that when I appeared for my All India PG exam, I had a rank 4
Yeah.
myself. So I believe in this a lot, that even my All India PMT I had a rank 4. So 4 is a very good number, and I believe that it's very little to choose between people in top 10. You've done very well.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
So it is like almost like you have topped the exam out of 1.5 lakh candidates, and you have come back after getting a rank 38,000 in the first go.
Yes.
So before I ask you other questions, I want to ask you a very important question: that how did you manage your motivation during this time? Because when you get a not so good rank in your first go, how do you manage it? Then how did you manage the belief that I can do it?
So when I started preparing, I had no hopes that I can do it in one attempt, the next attempt. So when I started studying and when I started giving the tests, I quite did well. So I started believing maybe I can do it. And then whenever I used to feel bad, I used to see toppers interviews from DAMS and motivational videos from Sumer sir and Deepthi ma'am, which almost gave me so much of motivation to study harder, and I believed I could do it. And my CBT ranks and all came very well, so that at that point I decided, okay, it will happen from me. And that moment I got to know, like, I can crack this time NEET.
What she's saying is the classic way to improve if you have not done well. Here I am adding a line here that whenever you don't do well, you have to build up your confidence. But how to build up your confidence? By accumulating tiny victories. Like every time she did a test, she was doing well, and that gave her confidence back, which you lose when you don't do well in one exam. Second is seek positivity. Like she would look out for people who are talking and helping her to maintain positivity, rather than to seek negativity. And these are the only two ways to make a comeback in any form of life. Whenever you're not doing well in any form of life, this is the way to come back. You accumulate tiny victories, seek positivity from positive people, and go ahead with do it. Now let me ask you some questions about your experience with DAMS classes. You did your regular classroom program in Mysore,
Yes.
and that is a DAMS Sky Center.
Yes.
How was your experience with the classes?
DAMS Satellite Center, all the teachers were very good. They explained the topics so beautifully that it cleared all my concepts. My UG preparation was not that strong, and I started loving all the subjects because of the teachers. And I used to enjoy all the classes. I used to make notes in different color pens, and then I was very much interested always. I was happy sitting in the classes, and I enjoyed satellite classes in Mysore.
And one thing that I've seen in common with all high achievers, everybody who's done a good rank, is they enjoy learning.
Yes.
They reach to a point where I think the destination, the journey becomes more important than the destination itself. Where you are enjoying the journey itself. So every one of you has to remember that we are all doing it to become a good doctor. This is just a path of it. Don't look at it that this is some work. Anyhow you have to study to become a good doctor.
Yes.
So when you start enjoying it, everything starts to fall into place.
Yes, sir.
So what was your way in the regular classes? Were you making the notes, and were you the girl with the multicolor pens?
I used
How
to
was your
use
idea?
multicolored pens and make notes. I used to make sure I write each and every word what the teacher says, and whenever I used to read the notes again, I used to feel that I'm sitting in the class and listening to the class again. I used to get the picture memory, and then I used to go back, make sure I read the notes once, and then I started solving CRS, and I made sure I gave more importance to notes than anything else.
So after the classes, any subject class was over, then you would go back to the question bank that we have given to you with the CRS. And I want to tell everybody that this year we have separated that question bank, and that will come as a separate Q bank edition in both in the app and the mobile app and the print version as well. So so that is again important. You did the classes, then followed by
Questions.
question bank. So because the both MCQ practice and concept building has to go hand in hand.
Yes, sir.
So if you were not able to do any question, what were you doing then?
I used to, maybe I thought I was weak in those concepts. I used to clear those concepts by reading it in either CRS or from the notes again. And I used to make sure I don't do the same mistake again. That was the strategy with the questions.
It's very important, if you notice that, whenever I see a lot of students come to me, sir, I have attended all the classes. But then you have to add that question bank thing, and then anything that you're doing mistake, you have to go back and find out, why those concepts you were not able to do, and that improves everything.
Yes, sir.
Did you also utilize the SWT and the GT series that we have?
Yes, sir. After my first revision of the notes, I used to do CRS questions, and whenever I used to get time, I used to do second revision, and then I solved SWT to see how strong I am in that subject. I used to add all the wrong answers, concepts which I'm missing. And then later I used to solve GTs, and then I used to mark all the wrong answers and review those. The main concept was not to do the same mistake again.
Again, if you notice that, her idea always was to give test with an idea to find where she is doing wrong. On the other hand, I see, many people give a test to look at their rank, which is, unfair. At the beginning of your preparation, there's no need to look at the rank. You have to find what I'm doing wrong and then improve upon it.
Yes.
Did you utilize the video solutions on these tests?
Yes, sir. After giving the GTs, I used to realize which subject I am weak in. So I used to make sure not only reading the answers, I used to see the videos, because teachers used to teach the concepts clear, and I used to add those points to the notes. I used to be clear with the concepts wherever I was weak in.
Yes. And do you enjoy the way we discuss the MCQs? Like, our discussions are like slightly different, that you'll see on the video. Teacher will say why this is the answer, why this is not the answer.
Yes.
And key points.
Yes, sir.
And do you feel that the video discussions, they help to imprint that concept into mind?
Yes, sir. I used the video discussions more than the written formats, because they used to help us rule out the other options, which is the main strategy to crack NEETPG, because nothing will be straight, nothing will be like one liner which you will know, nothing straight from notes. It will always be everything which you can rule out, and you have to find the answer. So whenever the teacher used to do the video discussions, they help you how to approach the question, they help you how to rule out the other option, how to get to the answer. That was the main advantage of the video solutions.
And did you attend the DVT session also via satellite in your center?
Yes, sir. I enjoyed the 3 days DVT. It was like a festival, and all of us used to fight for the front seat, and we enjoyed the classes. We made notes, though they gave us in the PDF format and everything. We still used to make notes, and it was a very much of high yielding concepts.
And did that help you to set up the momentum for the revision?
Yes, sir. After the DVT, the preparation went on to a higher level. We started giving more importance to whatever high yield topics are, and then we started revising even more, and the DVT revisions gave us more strength in each subject, which we were lacking in by just reading notes.
Now, if I may, try to summarize your strategy. Your strategy was to attend class, make notes.
Yes.
Then you went on to do CRS MCQs.
Yes, sir.
Anything that you were not able to do, you went back to the notes and the CRS.
Yes, sir.
Then it was about tests, SWTs, grand tests. Anything that you were finding difficult, you go back to the videos,
Yes,
learn
sir.
the concepts, and like this you were going about things.
Yes, sir.
Like, if I may ask you, with this, how many revisions were you able to manage?
I was targeting within AIMS exam. I had to finish at least 2 revisions because our classes ended in September end. So I could finish 2 revisions and I still had time left. So I utilized to read only DVT, and it helped in AIMS exam also. But then by the time of NEET, I was planning to finish at least 3 revisions more, and then I could do more number of revisions than that. And along with the revisions, I used to, after finishing each round of revision, I used to revise DVT again because I wanted to remember each and every word of DVT, because I didn't want to make any mistakes in those concepts which were straight given to you. That was my strategy.
So if I may say that you ended up revising 4 or 5 times?
Yes, sir.
5 times maybe. This, I think, very, very important. Another thing that she has highlighted is that, her preparation was always a blend of theory, MCQ practice, learning from mistakes, testing, learning from mistakes, and then she added to it multiple revisions.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you may do it once, but you may forget later on that multiple revision helped her to consolidate where she could reach in the end. And here you have from 38,000, she is at rank 4, which is an awesome improvement. I think for some, some people might say just a dream come true. At 38,000, you say one day I'll do top 10, but
Yes.
they may not have that conviction, and she built that in her mind, and that is very important. Every test, every victory, accumulate, and she built that belief to make sure that she did not falter at the final exam. It's very important to learn all this for every repeater. I think it is very, very important to understand how to go about it. It is exactly what she has done. This is the way to make a comeback in life. She's made it with a elan, with a shout out to everybody that here I am with a rank 4. I can do it from 38,000. You can do it from your own positions. So find that positivity in this interview. Please, make sure that you learn it from her. And I also want to know that you were talking about the value that Last Look series brought to your revision. Like
Yes,
how was
sir.
that useful?
I utilized Last Look microbiology, pharmacology, and pathology. After reading the notes, I used to read the Last Look. I felt that it was taking time, but I always felt it was worth it. Mainly the pharmacology Last Look is amazing, and all the questions in the NEET I felt directly came from it. It saved our time also, and it was very easy to revise. The Last Look series will just give you a gist of the whole subject. Like if you revise it twice, I think you're done with the subject. It is that strong.
I always try to emphasize to students, but sometimes I see some students, because of the plethora of material available in the market, they tend to put their time into multiple resources. I would always say that, have faith in your system. If we are creating something, there is a reason by which we are creating those new drugs in one summary or Last Look in one summary, because we know that this will be very easy to do.
Yes.
And this will be high yield. But sometimes if you invest your time into multiple things, you end up doing justice to nothing. So that is also important to manage the time. But you were able to do 5 revisions and one go, and in 1 year you have been able to do this miracle. How many hours in a day were you studying?
In the beginning, I used to study 10 hours per day because I was not used to sitting and studying. I was always a average person. Then later I realized I have to give more importance because I wanted to this was my attempt. So I wanted to improve the rank from 38,000 to somewhere a good rank. So I started reading 12 hours, and then later by the end of September it was like 14 hours per day I used to study.
So if you notice, from 10, then he put the pedal down to 12 hours to 14 hours. And how did you manage the distractions at this time? Today the world is so distracted. You have to, people watch television, they watch Big Boss, they watch social media. How did you manage all these things?
So the only thing in my mind was like, I have to crack this NEET, and when you have a dream, and you will automatically not focus on anything else. Like the going into social media will actually create a guilt inside you that you're not giving much time to studies. Like it happened to me, so I automatically came out of distractions and I used to enjoy studying, and I converted my distraction time. Like if I have wanted to go to Facebook or Instagram, I used to instead go to eMedico, see a video of EQ series, and EQ series was so enjoyable that I managed my time even during breaks like that. So it all added up being like this.
Did you enjoy the eMedico's app with the previous paper discussions and the kind of material that mop-up videos and
Yes,
kind of
like
material you put on it?
mop-up videos, I saw microbiology and genetics pathology, And I used to follow EQ series every Wednesday. I used to be like, okay, next which topic will come. I used to like Oftal and Microbiologica EQ series. I used to regularly follow them. And I used to use them during my break times. Whenever I used to feel bored of studying, I used to go to eMedicos, and instead of reading stuffs there, I used to see the videos. So they used to like lessen my efforts in studying something. I could learn it by just like listening to the videos.
And what I believe is that our mobile app helps you to kind of add things here and there wherever we feel there is a lacuna or we need to plug in those gaps. If you notice, we kind of push that material to you, like
Yes.
we'll give you a last look or we'll put
Yes.
a paper discussion on it, because we know where to add, how much to add where. Like, you remember we had that infectious disease special
Yes,
session
sir,
on it,
that was-
because I felt for AIMS that is more important. And like before NEET, we put that pharma last look, because NEET is more classic paper. You need
Yes,
to
sir.
do all subjects. And I'm very happy to hear from you, because when you talk about all these things, they I feel good that they validate our efforts, and we put in a lot of efforts to create all this. So we are very happy to hear from you. And I also want to know from you today, like, this NEET exam was very different from the previous NEET exams from like 2016 17, totally different. And so how did you manage this paper? Like, when you were going into the exam hall, what was in your mind when you were doing the paper? How aggressive were you? How many did you attempt? What was your style in the exam?
Last year, when I solved the eMedicos paper of 2018 NEET, and I felt it simple. So I thought, okay, this paper will be like that. But when I started solving the questions in NEET, I felt it was more of concept based, more of clinical questions, and it was like a totally different paper, I felt. So then I am usually very impulsive in marking. I don't think too much on an answer because I tend to go wrong. So I was impulsive as usual, and I attempted 291 questions. Each and every exam I give, I usually leave 10 questions which I really have no idea about. So I attempted 291, and then I had 15 minutes left, and I just didn't want to go back and see any answer, because I have a tendency to change the answer, and I don't want it to be wrong. So
If I may say that this paper, time management was not a issue, because most people, I think, were able to finish it in time.
yes.
While usually in a 300 question paper, you would think that you would be stretched for time.
Yes.
So was it because there were questions which were you were able to do some of the questions very fast because they were directly from the notes, or you had an idea, and some of them required thinking, so that you could balance it?
This time it was like the simple questions were too simple, and almost DAMS notes gave us all the answers. When you see it, you could get it from notes directly. So we were very happy marking those answers. During the paper, that confidence gave me a little more push to crack the other questions also. I was like, okay, maybe I can do it. I could give more time to the tougher questions by ruling out options, because that usually takes time than one-liners. And the clinical questions, everything was related to notes. It's like DAMS notes say everything came.
And I always believe that if you have that advantage of some questions that you directly know, that helps you to manage the time in the exam.
Yes, that also gives us a confidence to go faster and attempt the other questions.
And another thing that I learned from your strategy, her strategy was to believe in her first instinct. If you notice, she had 15 minutes in the end, but she did not go back to look at them, because she knew if she overthinks, she might do silly mistakes. And I've seen this happen to many people. When they go back and change the answer, they change it to the wrong choice.
Yes,
So I think that first instinct works. That is very important. I've seen this with a lot of toppers and high achievers, that when they use their first instinct, they do better.
Yes.
And second thing that we learned from her strategy was being aggressive. That she's done 291 in this paper, that is good. And if you have left too many questions, you can actually think that most of the rankers that we have talked to were doing in a more aggressive manner. There are exceptions, but to be that exception, you have to be highly accurate. So suppose you are attempting very less, then your accuracy level has to be phenomenal, otherwise you will not be able to compete. If your accuracy, silly mistakes happen. So it is usually true that in a paper which is doable, aggression is the key. And if you notice, her attempting ratio was 291. She left 9, and she left only those 9 questions where she had no idea about it. If she had an idea, she tried to rule it out.
Yes, sir.
And that is the key.
Whenever I could rule out two options, I would definitely attempt. Even if I could rule out one option, I made sure I attempted it, because somewhere, somehow it is related to notes, or somewhere you would have heard about it. I used my gut feeling there, kinda. And then the value-based questions, which I really had no idea about, I left only such questions.
Now, I want to know now, like, suppose last year when you were sitting and you were beginning to study, you were like, I don't know what would happen in NEET and what to go about it. Now, today you are in a place where you have come on the other side. But there are students on the other side who want to listen from you. I want you to tell in two separate questions for you. One is that how to come from 38,000 or a not qualified today to a top rank in the next year. Second is in both in the mental way, like how to manage the mental and status and the motivation, and what to focus on academically.
So first thing is, you give your each exam as a last exam. Don't think there is an alternative. As Deepthi ma'am says, there is no plan B. You have to always give your 100%. When I started this March, I was lagging 2 behind, because my friends had already joined DAMS. They had studied already, like they had done revisions and all that. I was a bit scared, but then I thought, okay, I can still do it, because I was confident of giving more revisions. That was my key. And then it was like 100% I have to achieve my dream. Like when you focus on your goal, you don't have anything else. There's no alternative. And then mentally, there are ups and downs, and I've seen everybody going through like a depressive phase and coming out of it. And the only thing which I could use is Sumesh Sethi sir's videos and Deepthi ma'am's videos. I used to see those videos and I used to just get my mood back, and then I was like, okay, I don't have time for all this. I have to use even that time in studies, then I can actually achieve. There's no time for anything else. Like it was only studies.
It is very important to understand, if you don't do well in an exam, then there will be a phase of that denial and everything that happens after that. But then you have to come back with a big hard work. And if I put her effort in one word, that would be hard work. She started with 10 hours a day, then 12 hours, then 14 hours. She cut out on distractions. She focused only on positivity, multiple revisions. She managed 5 revisions before NEET, and after starting in March, it was a tremendous achievement. And there would be people who started in January, and that might have put that pressure on you that
Yes,
these
sir.
people are anyhow 5 subjects ahead of me.
I had people who had joined from foundations, and they were like
Yes.
with me studying during the phase. So I was a bit scared, but then I thought, okay, I think anybody can do it. It's never too late to start. But the way when you start it, you have to give your 100%, and there is no plan B is the key thing.
Another thing that I feel is that right selection of course is very important. Like what I've seen is, suppose if in this NEET exam, like last NEET exam, the 50th percentile was 320. In this NEET exam, the 50th percentile is 340. And that tells us that this is a shade easier than the last exam, or the candidates found it easier. They were able to score higher. So now let us put a ballpark figure like 550. If somebody has a score less than 550 in this exam, they should look at a regular classroom program. Do not look at some makeshift method to plug those gaps. You have bigger gaps than you believe. Like if you notice, she is a rank 4, and today when we look at it in hindsight, we know that she's a very intelligent student, she's a very hardworking student. But at that moment, when she had a 38,000 rank, she had no way to find it.
Yes.
And she took that gut feeling that I need to do a regular classroom. And she attended each subject sincerely and with a empty mind that okay, I want to learn from these people, and that helped. And I feel that course selection also plays a big role in the comeback year. More so in the comeback year. Like suppose you're doing it from second year onward, third year onward, that is a different thing. But suppose you have not done well in NEET and you want to come back, you have to look at what I have done in the exam and how much help I need. Don't overestimate at that time and create a problem. Like I've seen students who have been into not qualified thing, they go only for online tests. I said, yeah, I understand that, but why only online tests? Why only online? Because at that time you need somebody to push you more. I think that classroom environment helps, where other people are sitting.
Yes.
Do you feel that has a role, that other people sitting together in a classroom?
Yes, sir. And I used to have friends who used to answer, shout out the answers in the class, which I used to not know. Every small thing used to actually motivate me, and I used to come prepared for the classes also. Like, I used to read, if classes were incomplete, I used to read the previous notes and then come. And then I used to always sit in an empty mind, as you said, and I used to like learn the concepts in the class itself.
And it's very important to hear, what she's saying is that learning happens in the class itself. And I've seen this even with the rank 1 aims also. If you notice, we did an interview some time back on this channel. If you notice, he said that his 70% of learning was done in the classroom. And I see her, I talk to her, I hear the same thing being repeated here, that toppers, they try to learn in the class, they interact.
Yes.
Even if it's a satellite classroom, because the teacher is teaching to you live, they are also asking questions, you are also answering, and then I think the technology becomes invisible.
Yes, sir.
When you are answering, then after a while, maybe after 1 or 2 3 classes, you forget that this is a satellite classroom, this is a face to face, because in the end it is between you and the teacher.
Yes, sir. Like, we used to feel like we are listening to a live class. There was actually no difference.
And that interaction is the learning happening.
Yes.
I always recommend to everybody that even if you are listening to me in a video, if I ask you a question, please answer. If you speak up, you will learn. If you stay silent, then you might not learn the way I want you to learn. So it is about interaction, it is about speaking out, and it is about sitting collectively in a classroom where others are answering, putting that pressure on each other.
Yes, that helps. That actually helps.
Yeah. And I also want to know from you, like, any particular teachers from DAMS that you want to mention today, because most of the teachers also try to hang on to the interviews. They want to find out, that kind of validates their efforts. They feel good. Any teachers that come to your mind today?
Like the Sumesh Sethi sir and Deepthi ma'am were my favorite teachers. I used to see all their motivational videos. The classes were amazing. Other than that, I love Mamta Java ma'am and Sachin Arora sir. These two are like my favorite. I used to not miss any videos of their, any GT discussion, anything, EQ series, everything. I used to follow them both.
And any motivating message that you want to say to future aspirants? Any one line that might help them to come to that level next time?
I want to say it's never too late to start unless you give your 100%. Even if you start late, like how I started, if you give your 100%, if you take it as your last option, and it's like there's no plan B, then anybody can do it.
And if I may, use this opportunity to again congratulate you on your achievement. If I may ask you, like, what branch are you looking to take?
I wanted to take dermatology, but then now I'm in a fix if I have to take dermatology or radiology.
She's still thinking between radiology and dermatology, the both top choices, and she is rank 4 All India this year. She has all the rights to take anything that she wants, anywhere she wants to. There is no compromise. She can take anything, and that is the way to come back with a elan, I think.
Yes, I'm very happy.
Yes.
Like,
massive comeback, massive comeback from a rank 38,000 to rank 4 in 1 year, and that too when she started classes in March. Reason I'm telling all this is because some of the students would be, saying, sir, last year I started in March, that is why I was not able to manage, I started late. But you have positive examples in front of you. People who start late but put in massive hard work, they are able to, offset the disadvantage of starting late by putting in more hours.
yes, sir. I want to say people who have started late, just stick on to DAMS notes, and there's nothing other than DAMS material which is important. Just don't focus on any guidebooks. I never touched any guidebooks. It was only DAMS notes, and you revise as much as possible. And as Sumesh Sethi sir's video said, enter the zone of silence in the last month, and that helps a lot. Like after the second CBT, I actually planned, I saw the video and I was like, okay, I tried to enter. I almost was in that phase, and that helps you focus towards the exam a lot.
And when you bring it now, I also wanted to know what was your CBT rank also, because like that will also give us an insight on how things were going.
By the time I gave first CBT, I had not, like, we didn't have classes for 3 subjects. It was just remaining. So I thought, okay, if I get a bad rank also, let me ignore it. But then I got rank 105. So that boosted up my confidence that even if I have 3 subjects incomplete, I still can crack the exam. And my second CBT rank was also 101.
Yes. And I think, that victory builds that confidence, and that also helps to get into the zone of silence.
Yeah, yes,
Because
sir.
if you are not winning, the noises are much higher.
That is
So you have to accumulate tiny victories in this entire year. And she made sure that she attempted tests, she attempted CBTs, and she tried to go get those victories. And she made herself believe that I'm not a 38,000 ranker, I'm a 100 ranker, top 100 ranker. And then she put even higher effort in the last month,
yes, sir.
even more hours,
Yeah,
more revision.
last month I actually extended it, like I cut out on my distraction to extend my study time. I couldn't extend more than 14 hours because I used to never cut out on my sleep and food. That was very important to me. Even before day of NEET, I slept for 8 hours. I never compromised on my sleep. I cut out on my distraction to increase my study time. That was my strategy during last month.
I'm really, really proud of you. You are a bright young lady. I'm sure you have, put in a lot of hard work, and that, hard work, perseverance, self-belief, all put together, you can make such a comeback. And probably your interview would be one of the most seen interview in this year, because that gives you that belief that somebody who focuses totally, and who puts in more hours, is able to achieve from a 5 digit to a single digit,
Yes,
to a top 5. It's all possible. I wanted to make sure that everybody sees this, because otherwise what happens is you get into that negative loop. I want everybody who is repeating this year, do see her interview again and again. Every time you feel negative, listen to her. She's, the way she has gone about is the clinical. This is the way to go about making a comeback. Accumulate tiny victories, seek positivity, avoid distractions. You can't satisfy everybody. Let your rank speak in the end, and then come and give an interview here. And with this, I again congratulate you. I wish you all the best.
Thank
I
you,
congratulate your parents. I'm sure parents and family had a big role to play in this.
yes, sir. My parents used to call me every day to see if I'm okay emotionally. They used to make me balance everything. I make sure I had food. And my best friends Anjana, Mahesh, and Chandana, I thank them a lot they have reduced my stress a lot, helped me during my studies also. So all these people, and including my sister, not to forget, she used to make sure I'm okay always. And all these people were responsible for me being here. And I thank them all.
And in a nutshell, it is about family, teachers, friends, all put together, and your own hard work. Not to forget, that is the major part of it. Everybody else is just to support you in your endeavor.
Yes.
We wish you all the best for your future. I'm sure we will hear from you more and more in future. And and you have to mark her name. You might hear about her as a great doctor in future as well. I wish you all the best again from the entire DAMS family and the DAMS Mysore family as well. Heartiest congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.